Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
Facts, boots.
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, Superboy.
Or like Super Dick. Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by Mr. Mike.
Hey.
Man Wonder.
Howdy doody.
Always have to get the Man Wonder in there. I don't know, I kind of dropped an octave and I felt like we were welcome into fresh air.
Welcome into fresh air.
Yeah, like we were hosting an NPR
I'm your
podcast.
host, Terry Gross.
But unfortunately, no, it's Mike and I, and we're going to talk about things, one of those things being comics at some point in
We'll
time.
be talking about comics today.
Before we dive into this week's, no, I can't do that. Hold on.
It's rough, man.
Before we get into this week's issue, if you will, or episode, I think is very funny. We actually have the first appearance of a Superman character that I think some people are familiar with.
Yeah.
But before we dive into that, Mike, before we started recording, you had asked about if my wife had brought up about the Easter egg that we had hidden in a couple of episodes, because we've done like one or two. We had like, you know, the secret phrase kind of thing. And,
phrase that pays.
and she was supposed to, I guess, you know, tell me what that phrase was.
She was going to listen all the way through.
Yeah, all the way through. So she comes up to me, I guess it was last week, and she goes, yeah, I don't want you to wear a t-shirt that says pants. Remember we had talked about,
I just almost snotted all over you. Yeah, that was great.
So remember we had talked about, do you have a shirt that says that or something? You
I
know,
do. I have
we
a
had
shirt
talked
that
about
says pants, yeah.
And so
she doesn't want that.
Yeah, she doesn't want that. And I was
she wants better for you.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, no, that's funny.
You should get a shirt that says shirt.
That's funny. And she goes, was that what I was supposed to bring up? And I go, no.
That's fantastic.
And she goes, well, I heard that there was something that I was supposed to have listened. Like, so she has missed the 2 Easter eggs.
Inside, you're just doing a victory lap at this point, though.
I am. But she has come in too late to know that we have said them at some point in time.
Sure.
So, and I told her that no, and I explained. She goes, well, what was I supposed to listen for? And I said, well, we hid things, Easter eggs, if you will, at the end of certain episodes.
Sure.
And she goes, okay, I need to go back and listen to them then.
Oh,
that was a week and a half ago. Do you think I've heard anything else about it?
No, you haven't heard.
I haven't. And that's why I don't. That's why I don't feel. Here's what's funny though. I'm running the risk of talking about it the first of the show.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hear about it. This is gonna
be a rough one. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll hear about this. If I would have saved this to the end of the show, I would have been safe.
The phrase that pays is bottle cap.
Oh man. So last week we covered the first issue of Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, that was a good one.
A lot of weird stories. People just getting gangrene from playing jokes on their friends and sealing them in coffins.
Sometimes you get in a coffin, sure.
Yeah, some random sea monster that looked like a ghillie suit. And
you know what? I thought about that episode that we did last night.
Oh, really?
Because I was watching Guillermo del Toro's box of mysteries, or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
Calabari's Cabinet or something, whatever it's called. But the second episode, I went to sleep on the first one, sorry. Second episode, here's how my life works, right?
Yeah.
I start watching something like that. I am not sleepy at all, but I eat tiny tacos and some cheese sticks, and I'm out, right?
I've noticed 2 things that are always involved in these stories. Maybe
Shirts
3
that say pants.
Yeah, but also it's some mixture of cheese is involved.
I love my cheese.
And usually if it is served in some sort of like Mexican cuisine way.
Sure.
I've heard queso and chips.
Well,
mini tacos, cheese sticks, because there's the cheese too. There's, you know, so I'm waiting to see what else.
I love food.
Yeah.
So last night I came home and, you know, we had a big thunderstorm here last night. Or we were supposed to have a gigantic world-ending thunderstorm, and it rained for like 10 minutes. But
it was a minor inconvenience for me to go early vote.
That's all I'm saying,
I had
right?
to sit in the car for a bit until it lightened
deal.
up, and then still use the umbrella.
Seriously, for like the last week, they've been telling us, "Dear God, the world's going to end." Yeah.
I expected like not to even want to like attempt to go out to my car after I got off work and just wanted to hang out.
All they kept
office.
saying were tornadoes, tornadoes, tornadoes. They're like Sunday. But anyway, I did find out that there is a scale now for the weather, 1 through 5, and we were in a 3. Who knows?
What is the 1 through 5 scale
I don't know.
for?
5 is death, I guess. 1 is bird lands on your shoulder, whistling
like,
Dixie or something. I don't know.
Isn't that the rating of like tornadoes as well?
Well,
like
I'm saying
F5's like F1s.
It's also, but it's also like
F1's
the
also
DEF
a
CON.
race.
I mean, that's what it made me think of.
See,
shit, DEF CON 3.
Here's what I need to figure out.
WeatherCon.
This, oddly enough, has brought up a debate I had with somebody else. A lot of people now, have you ever seen, do you ever get around the YouTube?
Mason says Cabinet of Curiosities.
Yes.
He's right.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. You ever get around the YouTubes and see people make these things called tier list?
No.
Or is that
tier
too
list.
much? Different tier lists about things?
Yeah, Mason knows.
I'll bring him, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to talk?
Yeah. Come on in, Mason.
Yeah, I love
Shut up.
videos
No, I'm just
for
kidding.
some reason.
Okay.
They're just interesting.
So I'll use Mason just to illustrate this point, just a micro quick. So these tier videos, and just explain if I'm off on this, but it's kind of like how they're like top 10 videos in a way.
Yeah.
It's the same in theory, but there's like, starting down at like F, which would think of like a grade and like, a school grade or anything like that. F tier all the way up to like A tier, and then even S tier.
S tier.
Right. And S tier is like it's
the cream of the crop, the best of the best.
But
it's
does it
like
stand
a
for
video game thing.
Yeah,
usually.
special or like
Why wouldn't it be A to Z?
So like you would think that, and like that was always the thing. It's like, why does it start with S? Like it wouldn't make sense to start with A, but it is a video game thing, which for some reason I always do remember that it was always S, and then I don't know. Okay. So, and I completely forgot where I was going with these tier list
videos.
Things.
Yeah. I don't know.
We were talking about weather. The
weather tiers.
3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think the weather thing.
Gone.
I'm sorry, I cut you off, Mr. Zach.
No. You're totally fine. I'm having that old where I completely whipped. I'm hoping
what I like is the fact that it's not me.
Yeah, it's me this time.
I think it was more based on the atmosphere. Said was more the potential for all this is possible.
Yeah.
It just doesn't mean it was gonna happen, but it very easily could.
Sure.
So there was a little overhyped, but like I said earlier, I'm glad we were prepared for
Cabinet of Weatherosities.
I think my general thought was just like maybe it's just like a tier list of weather.
Sure.
If not, that's what I'm going with to make it sound like I'm not losing my mind.
So I got home last night.
Yeah.
And I was hungry. I tend to not eat during the day.
Okay.
My wife sends me texts that says eat food. But I get to going and I just don't think about it, right? And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, I'm starving, or I fall over, or I die in the street or something. So I get home and I'm like, I'm really hungry. You hungry? I'm not really. Okay, well then I know I'm on my own, right? So I go and I clean out the freezer, which is what I do a lot of the times whenever this happens. It doesn't happen a lot. She's a great cook. Don't get me wrong. But there were 4 cheese sticks left. And some tiny tacos, which those only get bought when I go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Right.
I just remember this as a kid. Sorry to interrupt,
No,
but I would
you're good.
usually have a little side thing or on the plate I was eating of like sour cream for them.
Nope.
Or salsa.
Nope. Straight up.
Well, I mean, I just didn't know. Like I didn't all the time, but occasionally if I wanted to like splurge a bit.
The funny thing is you brought up queso a while ago, and you said that a lot of my stories involve queso. I made queso first.
Oh, there we go.
And then I decided, I better eat something more substantial. So I had tiny tacos out of the air fryer.
Your go-to?
Queso a lot of the time will be my.
I mean, there's nothing
It's the Rotel cheese dip. Rotel cheese dip and chips. The only problem I have is the chips we buy are too thin. This is why people tune in right here. This is it.
Okay, so it's
the chips kind of disintegrate.
Well,
That's the problem.
when you're
You have to
doing
eat
the
'em very
Rotel?
fast.
What cheese are you using for the Rotel?
It's the Velveeta.
The Velveeta?
but
Okay.
it's the HEB brand. So
Yeah,
it's,
but still, like that melts. I was thinking when you said
Good Melton or something like that.
yeah,
Whatever they call
well, like some people do the offshoot of that is Rotel and cream cheese, which is also another solid.
it. That sounds terrible.
Don't knock it until you've tried
I
it.
don't want that.
actually.
It sounds awful.
Do you not like cream cheese?
I don't want it that way.
Well,
That sounds goofy.
no.
Okay, I say
cheese. Hold on. Cheese one way with Rotel is
but
great,
it's cream cheese.
but a different cheese with the same thing is
You wouldn't tell me.
completely weird.
You wouldn't tell me that cottage cheese and Rotel go well together.
Have you tried it? It might.
I have not.
I'm just saying,
That's
like,
an
I don't wanna-
absolute fair point. I
don't
get
want
it.
to knock it. It's just kind of like
I will say the one that I made last night.
Mhm.
You know how you buy the big brick of the Velveeta or Good Melton or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't wrap it up real well. So you know how it gets real hard on the edge? I had to cut those off first. All right. And,
yeah.
and then I poured the Rotel, which is also the Hill Country Fair Rotel, medium. I don't want it too hot.
This episode presented by HEB.
I get the medium. And so I pour that in and I'm like, that doesn't look like enough. And so we also have like a little stupidest conversation. We have this little cardboard collapsible thing in the refrigerator, and it's ragu cheese. They just sell melty ragu cheese in a
Is this
in a
supposed
box.
to be in a box?
It's in a little box.
I was gonna ask, is this supposed to be a pasta sauce?
It kind of not real. Well, it's just melty ass cheese. It's like getting the nacho cheese at the ballpark. That's what it is.
Okay.
That's all it is. And so we had some of that left. I had to rake the crust off of the top of it because I'm the only one who'll eat this crap, right?
Yeah.
So I raked the crust off and then I squirt the rest of that in, and that's how I made my queso.
Okay. I'm gonna say,
But no cream cheese, dear God.
Yeah, the amount of vitriol you just came at me with for cream cheese, but yet the process you described.
Yeah, I know it's awful.
I don't understand where the hate comes from.
All right, so let's talk about Superboy.
Let's talk about Superboy. And I told you what I think the name of this episode is going to be, and the listeners will have already heard it. So they'll have a little bit of a tease going in, and so that's why I think it'll be nice to look at. But if that made any sense,
Yeah,
the character that we are going to look at the origin of is, are you familiar with Bizarro?
I am. I love Bizarro.
Okay.
Love him.
So Bizarro
This is my favorite part of Super Friends. Like, you remember Super Friends and Bizarro?
Yes,
He'd just show
I
up
do.
and like wander in. He's like drunk uncle or something. You know, he's just like, I'm Bizarro.
Didn't they even have an episode where there was like Bizarro World at some point in
Yeah,
time, I think?
yeah, absolutely.
So for those who don't know, Bizarro is essentially, he has a lot of different, throughout the years, with a lot of characters in comics. He's had many iterations in a way. So different people have, you know, rewritten his backstory in a way. But the one thing that usually remains the same through everything is he is an opposite of Superman in a way.
He's backwards Superman.
He's backwards Superman, opposite Superman, if you will. Or if you will.
Backwards.
A lot of times it's been where he still like is good, you know, at heart, but just has a penchant for destroying things when he's trying to help. Or it's even been where
He's honestly like a big goof.
Exactly.
He's just like, oh, Superboy, man.
He's kind of
yeah.
Well, his origin.
Like, I would not be surprised if you pan over and you see, you know, Bizarro just eating rocks.
Yeah.
You know, just,
So a character like that, but an origin to me that I thought was extremely sad.
Sure.
And Superboy, who at the time is young Clark Kent. What they were doing is,
Oh, really?
I believe they were still doing Superman titles and Superboy titles at the same time before eventually, I think, Superboy.
This is almost a
turned back
prequel, as it were.
In a way, yeah. It was a way for them to tell more Superman stories, but still.
Through a boy's
So-
POV.
In Superboy, number 68, in October, I believe this is 1959. Printed
10 cents.
10 cents there.
10 cents for your comics, sir.
A great 3-part novel, Bizarro, the Super Creature of Steel. And you can tell right from the beginning of...
Shouldn't he be like the super creature of tissue paper?
you would think if he were an opposite.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. But
Anyway, okay.
so let me tell you how this Bizarro happens.
Yeah.
So Superboy is essentially invited to this scientist who is going to his house, but he is working on a duplication ray.
Okay.
In hopes of duplicating radium because the hospitals need more radium.
Oh, that
right?
Sounds perfectly safe.
Super solid story at the time.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. No, there's going to be some more concerning things.
Make some more radium.
We'll get to later. But they find out when he fires the ray that it does make duplicate radium, but it does not have the same radioactive components.
I would count that as a good thing.
Yeah. So it is like, but not exact duplicate.
This is how we get Bizarro.
Superboy is kind of like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and show myself out. And in the process...
Gotta go, Doc.
Of the scientist trying to take his machine apart and make changes to it, he trips and knocks the machine and it scans Superboy. And in the process, the machine breaks too. Well, the scan between scanning Superboy and the metal from the machine, we're left with a metal-like creature that looks like Superboy, but he's not like
he's so much older,
irresponsive. Or he's he's just sitting there like knocked out, so he just looks like him. Yeah. And Superboy says, after they go to clean it all up, Superboy says, "Great guns! Look, the duplicator ray which struck me formed my duplicate."
Great guns.
Exactly. The scientist replies that, it's just your body or uniform. It's an exact double of you, but they roll him over. And Superboy says, not exactly. It's, an imperfect duplicate.
Yeah.
Just like the radium, this thing isn't alive, is it? Is kind of what he's asking. Yeah. And the scientist tells him, hardly, Superboy. Remember, it's not a living matter. It's not living matter. The thing that the metal it's made from, everything that it's used, this isn't a living thing.
Okay.
They want to push this very hard. And I guess try to remember that through the rest of the story.
Okay.
And the scientist says, we'll destroy it after we clean up the rest of the debris from the machine here.
Yeah, it happens.
So they dump everything else from the machine in the trash. They go back to pick up the duplicate of Superboy, who they realize is no longer just laying prone where he was. He's now up and walking around. So Superboy, flying overhead, says, man, that is such a bizarre looking creature. He hears Bizarro. That must be my name, Bizarro. That's why he's saying that.
So stupid.
It is. But at the same time, he's just like, he must be, just thinking, hey, that's my name. That's why he's calling me weird and bizarre. Me. But before Superboy, some of these things are kind of funny. Before Superboy, young Clark Kent, can get to stopping Bizarro.
Yeah. He's just kind of wandering around.
He's just wandering around Metropolis.
Sure.
He hears that animals have escaped from the Metropolis Zoo.
Dear God.
He's got to go take care of that, right?
He does, yeah, absolutely.
So he flies off. He compasses a lion and some fence line.
That's the best way to put a lion in captivity.
Exactly. Not the cage. Don't put him back in the cage.
Don't put him back in the cage. Well, that failed once.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
So Bizarro's now walking around downtown.
Stupid scientist probably made it.
And realizes that, hey, all these people are scared of me. I don't know why. And he turns to a storefront and sees a reflection of himself and goes, oh, they're afraid of this monster.
Yeah.
And so he grabs a parked car nearby and throws it at the mirror. Kind of a Frankenstein's monster situation
this is literally my favorite part about Bizarro, that he's just an idiot.
He is an idiot, but at the same time, in this story at least, he's just, I'll protect you people.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, sure. He doesn't know what a reflection is.
No, he doesn't. Yeah. And so he thinks he's protecting. Exactly. He's protecting people. It just scares the townspeople even more. The cops pull up. They shoot at him. Bullets are bouncing off of him, obviously, because he's a duplicate of Superboy.
First reaction, just shoot the guy.
Well, he, distraught, starts to have memories of like, mom will know what to do to help. And so he flies to the home of John and Martha Kent, who he believes to be his mother in the memories he has from Superboy.
Yeah, why wouldn't he?
Remember, though, he's not a living thing. So he shows up to see he shows up to see the
sorry,
Kents.
I just had a little attack.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I saw something.
To see the Kents, and Martha tells him, hey, basically we have dinner coming up. I just am about to put the roast in.
She
and
doesn't
Bizarro,
realize this is a metal version?
Her back's turned to him the whole time. Oh. And he goes, oh, I can help. And he uses his...
heat rays.
Yeah, but it's not heat vision at the time. I had...
cold vision.
Yeah, I had
He's
my
Bizarro.
cousin tell me that he didn't have his X-ray vision to use. Nope, never mind. I don't know. Whatever. However, he heated up the roast. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I can't.
He heated it up with his eyeballs.
He did. It's not necessarily heat vision at the time. It's something else he had that uses it. But
it's like an air fryer.
So Martha thanks him for it, tells him, hey, why don't you go upstairs and freshen up?
And she still hasn't looked at him.
No, her back's still turned. He goes up. He comes back down to sit back at the table. She's like, who are you? You're not my son. Get out of my house, kind of thing. So
you skipped over something though.
Oh,
there's a robot here.
There is a robot of a Superboy up in the Clark's bedroom. Yes.
Does anybody explain that?
It says, I'm trying to remember. Oh, Superboy.
It's a friggin' Superboy robot.
Superboy would get a shock if he could see what happens in his room as Bizarro's X-ray vision discovers Clark Kent's secret closet. That's what it says. And Bizarro said, what's this, dummy? Me see what is inside it, huh? And it says Superboy robot.
It's just like a little arrow pointing to this.
And he just
Superboy
opens it
robot.
up. And then it just says, next panel. Soon, when Mom Kent calls her son to lunch. No, they don't explain it. My bad.
What the hell?
What you want to
It's a friggin' Superboy robot up in his secret closet.
You don't keep robots of yourself.
God almighty. Okay.
I mean,
all right.
Hey, Westworld's been canceled. So, I mean, where else are they going to keep all those lifelike robots at, right?
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
All right, so they're sitting down. They're finally looking at this dude.
Yeah, and she's like, you're not my son. Get out of here.
Dear God, you're made of mirrors.
Bizarro, he's crying.
Yeah.
This is not a real thing that is now has his feelings hurt. It's crying, right?
Shouldn't his tears go up?
No, they don't.
Sand should come out of his eyes and it should go up.
But no, it's actual tears. He's only different in some ways, not always.
Yeah.
So he decides to leave and find another family. And because he's like somebody, he's just desperately wants.
Yeah, he just goes to another farm.
Yeah, he does. And these people are scared, so they let him kind of stay and eat with them.
Yeah.
And he's looking for a job to help his dad, air quotes. And so the farmer's like, yeah, you can go and pretend to be our scarecrow. And so Bizarro walks out.
What a job.
Yeah, walks out into the middle of the field and takes all the clothes off the scarecrow and then thinks, oh, wait, this is now actually a disguise. I can go back into town and people won't realize it's me. But
it's your big ass face, dude.
But yes, everybody can still tell once he gets there that it is Bizarro, and they run away scared, and he realized that he's
no shit. Now he's dressed like Frankenstein. I mean, he's got a floppy hat on. He's got some jacket he found in a field.
Well, he just stole the scarecrow's clothes.
Pants with a bunch of holes in them, and then he's just like lumbering around. Oh yeah, nobody be scared of me now.
So he's leaving footprints in the pavement.
In the damn pavement.
So he realizes, they're not helping at all. So he flies away.
I'm having a problem though with his S not being backwards.
Yeah, I don't.
That's not my Bizarro.
No, that's not your Bizarro. This is the first Bizarro.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So Superboy is now, after being taking care of everything at the zoo, is trying to locate Bizarro.
After taking care
and Bizarro's just sitting there crying on a sidewalk.
Sure.
When this girl walks up and says, what's the matter, mister? Why are you so sad? I heard you crying. And Bizarro says, it's a pretty girl, but she's not scared of me. And the girl says, scared? Why should I be? Your voice is kindly, and I can sense that you're a gentle person. And Bizarro says, she looked right at me, not frightened me. Not frightened. I have, me have one friend at last.
You have one friend.
Oh, me happy now. Me go tell farm people good news. His parents. And he flies away. But then it says, because again, this comic is just mean as hell to Bizarro. Get ready. But as Bizarro flies away, you see an old woman and a dog come out, and the woman says, Melissa, you know you mustn't go without your seeing eye dog and Kane.
Oh my God, this girl's blind.
That's right. Bizarro's only friend could possibly be a blind girl.
God.
Right?
Poor Bizarro.
We had little comics in between. Binky lost a free education. I'll sum this up. One kid's like, I want to drop out and make money now. And the other kid's like, I don't know. You should stay in school and get an education. And they're at the local grocery store, if I could talk, where a guy who just graduated a couple of years ago is working. He's like, man, I dropped out. I wanted to make money now. Now I'm still working at the grocery store while my buddies are making money in better paying careers elsewhere.
Wall Street.
And I got to go back to school. You should listen to your friends and stay in school.
Stay in school, kids.
Boom. Into that one. Then we had Little Pete.
Little Pete.
Essentially, Little Pete wants an ice cream. His dad said there's no way you can have.
They're on the beach.
Yeah, they're on the beach. Yeah. Little Pete's a little blonde-haired kid. And
Little Pete didn't really catch on, did he?
No, not that I know of.
Sure.
He says, you can't have ice cream. You've
Maybe
already
in
eaten.
Austria. Little Pete's real big in Austria.
I don't know,
Well,
but if you're in Austria and you're, but he doesn't have blonde eyes or blue eyes.
Boy, if he has blonde eyes,
yeah. Still
look deeply into my blonde eyes.
Little Pete's dad's like, you can't have ice cream. You've already eaten. Little Pete comes back later, says, hey, do you want me to make kind of bury in sand pop? And he's like, yeah, sure. It'll help me not to get sunburnt. And he kind of falls asleep. And Lil Pete covers him up, and he's like, oh, man, I can't get out of here, Pete. I can't budge. Help me. And he's like, come on, Pete, dig me out. And Pete's not digging him out. And he's like, I'll do anything. Give you anything. And then it shows Lil Pete basically gets to go off to the ice cream shop. And
you know what that reminds me of? Is like Dot.
Yeah.
Do you remember Dot?
Yeah. That's a lot like
That's
that.
Dot, but it's a boy.
Boy Dot.
That's all that is.
Lil
Boy Dot.
Pete.
Little boy Dot.
Not to be confused with Pete and Pete. So we're back. This is a story told in 3 parts, Mike.
All right. So let's take this chance to tell the story of our advertisers.
No. I'm going to say when we do this.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Let's take this chance to hear a word from our advertisers.
Can we come back now?
And we're back. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for taking that break.
I was getting to it.
Okay.
I was going to make my own break
just making sure.
halfway through.
All right. Just making sure.
2 and 3.
Toyota calls me on Tuesdays and says, hey, did you take that break?
Really?
No.
Oh. Well, if they did, you can tell Toyota. We always take that break.
Zach's on it, Toyota.
I'm on that. I always take that break. I should say, though, also sponsored by Tootsie Roll.
Tootsie Roll.
It's fun for, I'll read, because Tootsie Roll has ads on at the end of all 3 of these, I believe.
Oh, nice.
So it's fun for some, we must agree, to dream of treasures undersea. But when it comes to fun for all, Tootsie Rolls, a treasure haul. Tootsie Roll.
Wet ass Tootsie Rolls is what those are. They're
chocolatey
wet Tootsie Rolls.
A chocolatey treat that can't be beaten because the fun is in the eating. That's what it says, and it's America's favorite candy.
I read that on the side of a bathroom stall one time.
Oh man! So
a good time call. Tootsie Roll.
I'll get to our next Tootsie comic when I get there.
Sure. Let's do it.
So we come back, and Bizarro is now just through the roof with excitement that he finally has a friend.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So he shows up to school. He's like, I'm going to go to school with my friend then.
Oh, my God.
Well, I'm sorry. I've skipped ahead.
Oh, okay.
Superboy finds that is what happens in this part.
Okay.
But I got ahead of the story.
We're all going to school. Sure.
So Superboy does find Bizarro, and when he finds him, he's like passed out. So
from all
he
the
can't
excitement.
tell. Yeah, it looks like he's asleep, but Superboy thinks he's got to be dead. He's not asleep.
Sure.
Then he's
Bizarro
just
doesn't sleep.
So he takes Bizarro back to the scientist, goes back home to see
janky ass scientist that screwed everything up.
Exactly. Goes back home to see his mom, and he's like, "Yeah, hey, sorry that happened. I took him back to the scientist.
Whoops.
everything should be good. I'm going to school now. Well,
hey, have you done anything with that? We don't talk about the robot.
Exactly. I don't know what you're talking about, Mom.
Yeah.
And he just kind of
shut the door. Shut the door.
So, Bizarro wakes back up in the scientist's office, and the scientist is like, "Oh, great Scott! Bizarro was only resting. Like he's surprised that this thing is still alive."
Oh.
Bizarro realized, "Oh no, I'm going to be late to school. I got to go hang out with my friend Melissa.
Gotta go, guys."
So he like flies out the window to go see his friend Melissa.
I just see him flying out through the wall and making a Bizarro-sized hole.
He actually goes out the window.
Oh wow, good for him.
So
he's learning.
He lands at school and like he's there with Melissa, and he's like, meet me when you come out of school, Melissa.
This
and
is the blind
like,
girl.
The blind girl.
Okay, all right.
And she says, "Oh, well, it's not the sad boy I met yesterday who talks funny." Like she's like making, playfully just kind of going back and forth. And he's just excited about it. He's like, "Oh, Melissa's my friend. Me do anything for you, Melissa.
Me do anything for you, Melissa."
So Clark sees him at school and is like, "Oh my goodness, what's Bizarro doing here at school?"
God. Nobody ever mentions the fact that he's dressed like Superman.
Nope.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right.
At one point in time, yeah, they did. Sorry.
That's whatever.
It wasn't that big of a part of the story, so I skipped it.
Just like a scarecrow.
Like, oh, he looks, I don't know.
He's
He's a bizarre creature. Anyway, Bizarro shows up in gym class now where Clark and the other boys... That kind of sounds like the start to a very weird story.
It does.
Where Clark and the other boys...
are
working on getting in shape.
Boom, boom, boom.
They're tossing a medicine ball around where don't worry if you're being like, "I know that Clark Kent is so much stronger than those other guys. How come he's just throwing a medicine ball around and not hurting anybody?"
Yeah.
It has a thought bubble. "I have to pretend this medicine ball is heavy for me to conceal my super strength."
Sure.
So he knows. He's
Thanks
like,
for explaining that to us, young Clark.
Nope. So there you go. That's why he's not just straight murdering people by throwing the medicine ball through. Bizarro, on the other hand, does not know how to control his strength.
Right.
And so when he tries to throw it back,
don't give that guy a medicine ball.
Clark is able to use his magic or super breath.
I like magic breath.
I almost called it magic breath, but it's not super breath. To like kind of direct the medicine ball over their head so it doesn't hit and kill anybody.
Gotcha. Sure.
Then he like hurls.
Thanks, Clark.
Yeah, he kind of like hurls Clark away from the group, and Clark has to use his kind of flight hover ability to land, so they can't know that he's indestructible. But where it's like he just got a lucky landing, kind of in the
3-point stand.
Yeah. So Bizarro realizes that he's just causing more harm than good, so he leaves.
So he starts crying again.
Yeah, and leaves and realizes nobody wants me around. Superboy decides, you know what? If he's like me, I can't stand Kryptonite. Kryptonite's got to be bad for him too.
Yeah, you would think so.
So he floats up into space.
So let's kill this sucker with some kryptonite.
Exactly. So that's how we're going to get rid of him.
Oh, no.
Kryptonite.
Dear God.
So Superboy goes down and dons a lead suit, right?
Okay.
Because lead is...
Yeah, that's the one that we've discussed before. Yeah,
so
lead.
he can handle kryptonite.
Right.
Since he is in a lead suit, but it looks honestly like a lead knight's costume. Like it is honestly just a knight's costume with a cape and a yellow S on it.
I kind of like that.
But so donned in...
I like that better than the Superman suit.
The
metal Superman. I think that's cool.
But Superboy in all iron... I'm sorry, not all iron, all lead. Yeah. All lead travels into space and grabs a giant kryptonite meteor.
Chunk of kryptonite.
Just a chunk of it.
No,
flows
they're just
back,
floating around out there.
Comes back into Earth, grabs it and hurls it at Bizarro.
Sure.
Bizarro catches it, thinks, "Oh, he's playing a game with me. We're playing catch."
Looks like a watermelon.
Bizarro hurls it back at Superboy.
This.
It hits Superboy. Crushes
Bink.
through his armor and he collapses down to the ground.
Well, yeah, that's what he deserves.
And Bizarro's like, "Oh no, I guess he's resting. I'll come and check back on him later." Like Bizarro doesn't know. He goes,
Bizarro's like a big Labrador.
He goes, him's so sleepy, okay, I'll come back and check on him later. And
Him's
he wakes
so sleepy.
up. He doesn't mean anything bad about it. He's like, he's just, And so he leaves and he's like, maybe Superboy will play more games and be my friend if I make something nice for him?
Sure.
Like, so he thinks, you know. So he's walking by all these empty windows and he sees this sculptor like building a statue, and it's a stone bust of Superboy that they're making for something. So Bizarro finds something sharp and goes off and finds a mountain face and decides to carve Superboy's face into this mountain. And he does.
Wow.
And then just through sheer fate, lightning strikes it, and it makes it look like Bizarro's face.
Oh.
Because not only does Superboy hate Bizarro, God hates Bizarro.
That's right.
And so the plane flying
This is
by.
this is like right place, right time, wrong place, wrong time. That's all this is.
So a group, like there's a plane flying by that is like, why is that creature making like a statue of himself in this?
Seems weird.
Like, they're like, oh, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, the cop.
This guy who's dressed like Superman.
Yeah. They say, oh, great Scott, look, why did that super creature carve his own?
Oh, there we go.
See, they don't mention him being related to Superman. They know they believe he's another super creature like Superboy.
Okay.
But they don't think like it's a. So a cop shows up and kind of wraps the kryptonite in lead. Back to Superboy. No, back to Superboy.
Oh, gotcha.
And wraps the kryptonite in lead, and Superboy kind of comes through.
What the?
And then desperately, Superboy, he kind of wakes up and he's like, thanks for doing that. I got to come up with a way, since kryptonite failed, to stop Bizarro.
Stop/kill.
Yes, we need to get rid of, because all Bizarro wants to do is help people.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing.
His thing is he looks ugly.
Yeah.
And he speaks.
We have to kill the ugly people.
So we have to kill him. He's obviously. So
yeah, he's bad for humanity.
Desperately, Superboy visited an army base nearby, and it shows him talking to, I guess, the head of this army base, and he goes, we'll cooperate, Superboy. I cannot talk today.
It's okay.
We'll cooperate, Superboy. We'll use all our military weapons against Bizarro. It's fine. He might have some unknown Achilles heel. Basically, you can have free range to whatever we have.
Yeah, just use our missiles, Superboy. It'll be fine.
Superboy's like, okay.
Blow this sucker up.
I got you. So, Bizarro comes back to see Melissa. And you
Which
hear,
she can't do.
Yeah, well, that's true. You hear Melissa say, Bizarro, I've been looking for you. Sorry. Yeah. Will you do me a favor? And Bizarro's like, sure, Melissa. You're my only friend. I'll do anything you want.
Sure.
Essentially. So Superboy says, all right, Bizarro is too dim-witted to notice it's a puppet of Melissa I made, and I'm using, ready for a super ventriloquism. Super ventriloquism? There we go.
That's what he says?
He says,
super ventriloquism.
It's a puppet of Melissa I made. Now, by using super ventriloquism to make this dummy talk, I'll lure Bizarro into the army's trap. So
this is the equivalent of that time when they made the paper cutouts of people.
Yes.
And it fooled the villains.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This is dumb.
Superboy is using the only thing that this guy loves.
Yes, he's using it against him
to kill him.
Yeah.
Tell me again, who is the hero in this comic?
It ain't Superboy,
right?
No, it's Tootsie Roll.
So, we're about to get there.
Oh, Mike. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself again.
Yeah, you are.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, Tootsie Rolls are great.
Let's take a break real quick. No, I'm just
Tootsie Rolls are great, and they're going to get their due this episode.
Sure,
but
that's wonderful.
So.
I love that waxy ass chocolate.
Bizarro picks up the puppet of Melissa and flies her to where essentially like Superboy is telling him to go.
Yeah.
And we see that, the army guy's like, Superboy has lured Bizarro here. That girl is only a dummy. Ready, aim, fire. And this is the cliffhanger to end chapter 2. And I'll go ahead and just read it verbatim. Again, Superboy issue number 68 from October. Obviously, all rights DC Comics.
Sure. Boy, you said that with some vitriol in your voice. You were
I didn't
all
mean
rights DC Comics.
I'm just making sure that I'm reading. They're getting credit there.
Yeah.
Will the awesome might of America's military weapons be able to annihilate Superboy's dangerous double? Or will Superboy's plan meet defeat? See the outcome of this amazing tale and the final fate of Bizarro in the next chapter.
Well, they kind of give it up. They say the final fate of Bizarro.
It's very much like what I loved in, I know we've talked about it before in earlier episodes, of how much I love Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah.
And it's the, join us for next week's episode. If it's, you know, moose today, hair gone tomorrow, you know, all that.
Sure.
It just has that same kind of feel to it.
Well, it's Super Friends also. Super Friends was the same way.
That is true.
You had that announcer. And this week's episode, you know, that kind of, it was like, will Superman find his true love?
Yes.
In this pile of death.
And I just kind of love that, just like to get you teased. But of course, a perfect time for us to hear from the unofficial sponsor of this week's podcast, Tootsie Roll.
Tootsie Roll.
This time, though, let's see if you can guess what they're advertising for this one.
I saw it. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay.
It's a Tootsie Pop.
The future holds real fun in store, unknown planets to explore. But flying around the moon and sun is not the only way for fun. And then you get to see Tootsie Roll Pop. A Tootsie Roll Pop. Just can't be beaten because the fun is in the eating.
Yep.
The only pop in the world with a center of delicious Tootsie Roll.
You don't know my pop.
And don't forget delicious Tootsie Roll fudge, chocolate, or vanilla.
That is not fudge, dude.
No. This is...
I understand.
I never had that.
No, I never had.
Is that the
Tootsie
same
Roll
as
fudge.
the little...
I don't know, but that ain't fudge.
It's not fudge.
It's wax.
I will... Here, okay, that's fine. I will tell you, though, you know...
That's fine.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
You know the fruit... They do fruit-flavored ones,
Yeah,
too.
sure. Mm-hmm.
The vanilla ones...
Yeah. Really? That's the way to go?
I'm not saying they're great. Like, if you don't love Tootsie
Like
Rolls,
the
you're not going to
middle
like
is
them.
vanilla?
No, the whole thing is vanilla.
Oh, you're talking about vanilla Tootsie Rolls. You're not talking about these
Yes.
pops.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
The fun's in the eating.
Yeah, the fun's in the eating. But, like, yeah, vanilla Tootsie Rolls are my jam.
You like that, huh? You know what's not good?
What?
Those weird off-brand Tootsie Rolls. You ever get those like at Halloween?
Oh, yeah.
You get those gross ones that are made like by Brock's or somebody. Yeah.
Brock's
makes
I feel like
imitation candy.
I feel like they made one thing that was decent, and then I went back to try it later, and they had even changed the one thing. Remember the strawberry candies?
Cyanide, I think is what
Maybe.
Brock's made. That's
It was
the
like
one
hard
thing.
strawberry candies. I thought
Hard
they did.
strawberry cyanide.
So the next two comics we get before we get to the much anticipated chapter 3.
Boy, the one that I've been waiting for, Shorty.
Shorty. Essentially, the story here is Shorty wants his school letter. You know, like your Letterman jacket.
This is just Archie.
Yeah, it is.
It's just a rip off
But
Archie.
the
This is the Brocks of Archie.
That's true. The coach tells Shorty, hey, all right, you want to join the cross country team? Go run 10 miles. Essentially, Shorty says, F that. I'm joining the chess team. That's how he gets his letter. And that's the end of that. Oh, there's another page comic here called Casey the Cop.
Oh, Casey the Cop.
Yeah. And
Oh, see, I didn't see that. Black letters on blue print.
Casey's just driving the...
Paddy wagon.
It is the paddy wagon. There's a prisoner in the back, and he tells him, all right, Casey, let's go. I will watch the prisoner from back here. So you're driving, and the guy in the back keeps yelling at him to hurry up, and he's like, I can't go any faster. The guy comes around, he's like, why are you yelling at me? What's such the rush? And he's like, oh, it started to rain. I'm getting soaked out here.
That's the
Boom.
end?
That's the end of it.
It's raining? Wow, that's a good punchline.
All right, now let's get to the final conclusion of Superboy being a complete D-bag to Bizarro.
Brought to you by Tootsie Roll.
Brought to you by Tootsie Roll. So there's a giant battle at this army area that
Army area.
I don't know what like where the army
I
is
get it. It's like an
gathered.
army base or whatever. Right?
And they have lured Bizarro too. So they're fighting.
This is ridiculous.
Yes, none of the weapons are doing anything to Bizarro
Yeah,
because he's indestructible,
he's
just
friggin'
like
Superman,
Superboy.
yeah.
Exactly. Flamethrowers, nothing's working. He's doing everything he can to protect this Melissa puppet because Melissa's his friend.
Yeah, sure.
Well, he's like destroying tanks that are coming at him, not thinking about other people being hurt, just worried about Melissa.
Well, like I say, he's a big dumb Labrador
Exactly.
or whatever.
But he's just trying to protect his friend.
Yeah.
So Superboy basically goes back to the chief here, the head army guy that's helping him out. And he's like, hey, can I use anything that's in here? And they're like, Superboy, you can use whatever you need to. just let me know and we'll go ahead and get everybody kind of out of the area if you want to, because Superboy's bright idea is he's going to drop an atomic bomb on Bizarro.
Wonderful. I was wondering when that was going to come around.
So he just straight up goes, drops it right onto Bizarro.
Good God.
Bizarro catches it.
Oh, come on.
Flings it back up into space.
Why wouldn't you?
Throws it 240,000 miles away.
Okay.
Because who saved us? Not Superboy.
Nope,
Bizarro saved Superboy from dropping an atomic bomb.
Of course, he did explode the moon.
Oh.
All the tides went weird. Everybody
That is
died.
true. It does say moments later, 240,000 miles away. And then we get just a one-off page or a panel here that says, at the next moment at a guided missile base in Florida. And it's like these military guys looking through binoculars and they say, Great Scott, we were ready to fire our lunar missiles. Who hit the moon ahead of us? That's it. Never comes back.
So
to
they're
anything.
shooting missiles at the moon?
Yeah, but don't worry. Not brought up again. So either they're like, it's cool. They shot the moon, or doesn't matter. Don't worry about this. This is more important. Don't know why that one panel was thrown in there unless it was like,
in Florida,
we have space. Draw something.
Okay, so there's a couple things going on here. One, we have Superboy robots that are never referred to again. I can only
maybe. I will say we are coming in randomly just in issue 68. I don't want to say that.
Don't care.
If the robots were, brought up maybe back in issue 15.
You still got to give me some sort of connectivity here and tell me why there's a friggin' Superboy robot. Okay. But there's this secret ass closet.
Yeah.
You got a Superboy robot.
Yeah.
You got the military firing at the moon in Florida.
Yeah.
And Superboy is a villain.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Just getting caught up.
All right.
Tootsie Rolls are still great, though.
Yeah. No.
Sure.
Try that 1 cent Tootsie Roll fudge in chocolate and vanilla. So Bizarro goes to save Melissa and realizes her arm pops off.
Whoops.
And he's like, oh, no. And he goes down to help her, and she just kind of falls apart. And he's like, I have to save Melissa. She's going to die.
Oh, no, she's falling.
And Superboy just says, good grief. How dumb can you be, Bizarro?
Good
He has
Lord.
just like no chill. He's just like,
jackass.
F you, dude. F you. He is like, if you ever get on to play any video game and it's always those little kids who are just constantly
screaming in your ear. Yeah.
That is Superboy right now.
Yeah.
He is like 1v1 me, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
F you. Where's your mom at? Like, that is Superboy.
Where's your mom at?
Right?
Yeah.
So
that's great.
He basically
Poor Bizarro never asked to be born. He didn't.
No.
I mean, he
tells Bizarro, stop blubbering. Only a dummy I used. That's only a dummy I used to lure you here.
But Bizarro thinks it's a real person who's just falling into pieces.
Upset now, and obviously like throws some of the equipment around at Superboy.
Yeah.
And they get to a back and forth with some of the military equipment, but obviously they're both indestructible, so it doesn't do anything. Superboy
eats a tank.
Superboy thinks that, all right, you're so dumb, I'm going to hurl you into space and you'll be too stupid to figure out your way back. But apparently Superboy, just like the god Mercury, or was it Mars? Whoever it was.
He
doesn't calculate, I guess, because he spins him out. And like a boomerang, Bizarro just comes back and hits Superboy in the back.
Whoops.
And instead of thinking like, all right, I'll do that again differently, he's just like, nope, that's what I get. And he doesn't try it again.
Oh, no.
So he just flies away. And he's like, I'm done dealing with you.
This guy's protecting nobody.
No, he's not. All he
really
did
not.
was save the town from the animals escaping.
Yeah.
And then he's wasted so much money. He tried to drop an atomic bomb.
I don't know about you, but I would rather have a lion running around than somebody dropping an atomic bomb on, my
I can
villa.
deal with my superhero maybe not looking the nicest.
Yeah.
If he's not trying to nuke me and my family.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sure.
Just a thought. But Superboy notices.
Not trying to nuke my family.
Yeah. Superboy notices because he's like, I got to watch and see. There has to be a way to defeat Bizarro.
Yeah.
Well, a garbage truck drives by Bizarro, who's trying to fly away to go see Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
And Bizarro kind of gets weakened and loses his power and falls down. He's like, I can't even crawl. Kind of like, I'm so weak. And so Superboy kind of just watches him as he, kind of flies away, and he gets his powers back. And he's like, all right, I got to figure out what caused Bizarro to lose his powers.
God, I hope it's just garbage.
So we go back. So we go back to Bizarro has been waiting for Melissa, and Melissa just says, it says in the backyard garden where the blind girl spends most of her time. That's how they refer to her. They don't say Melissa.
Get it, sure. Yeah.
Melissa
That's
says,
where we used to put the blind people, in the back garden. Sure. Yeah.
That's your time, Mike.
Got a blind person? Put them in your garden.
So Melissa says,
Make great scarecrows.
Oh, Auntie. But not Bizarro.
No,
Auntie, the garden's, too quiet right now this time. I wish that there was a bubbling spring that I could hear. She's just saying, I wish I could kind of hear more. Just
sure.
And
sure.
Bizarro hears this and is like, all right, I'll make a spring for her then, just because I like her. Obviously, I would do anything
He's
for
trying
her.
to help. Yeah.
So he uses his X-ray vision and he bores all the way down to water underneath the ground.
Yeah.
He creates a bubbling spring or a pool, and she's walking and she goes, she tells her aunt, I'll go alone. I know the way to walk around, out there. I've been there a lot of times.
Sure.
And so Bizarro's waiting and he's like, I can't wait. She's going to be happy when she sees this pool. And Melissa steps into the pool and goes, oh my goodness, there has never been water here before. Glub, glub.
Glub, glub.
Yeah. Bizarro says she walked right into there without seeing it. Then she must be blind. Me never knew.
Never knew.
And he's choking back tears.
Oh, that poor dude.
Then Bizarro goes and helps her out. And he goes, it's me, Melissa. Me save you. And she goes, thanks, Bizarro. I know it's you from your voice. Please stay and visit with me after I change to dry clothes. Which I'm with her. I hate wet clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Bizarro, it says, but the pitiful creature stumbles away, heartbroken at the cruel blow he has received. And Bizarro says, she was my friend only because she blind. If she saw my face, she'd be scared of me too. Like all others, me can never have real friend.
Oh my God.
And he is sobbing.
Poor Bizarro.
Right? Poor Bizarro.
Yeah.
So Superboy goes,
Bizarro.
follows that garbage truck to the dump essentially, and realizes, it's that glowing metal from the machine, the scraps from the machine earlier when it exploded.
That makes sense.
That's his kryptonite, kind of.
Makes sense, sure.
So he goes and he thinks to himself, it's quite logical.
He blows up this machine that's making iridium or whatever the hell it was.
Just radium,
and he just goes, that didn't work. Throws it in the garbage. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm going to clone people.
Superboy, young Clark Kent,
make
says,
robots out of people.
It's quite logical. When the planet Krypton exploded, my kryptonite was formed from each of the fragments.
Can't get anything past this Superboy.
Yeah. Similarly, when the machine which created Bizarro blew up, the fragments of that broken turned into his kryptonite, or fragments turned into his kryptonite. Sure. So he finds a giant piece.
I'm going to kill him with love.
He has a giant piece of
the machine
there, right? Just a scrap of it. Yeah. And he's flying towards Bizarro. And it says, presently, as Superboy speeds to meet Bizarro in Melissa's garden, Superboy says, sorry, Bizarro, I have to destroy you with this glowing metal. I kept saying Metropolis. Sorry, that's my bad. Apparently, they're still in Smallville this whole time.
Oh, okay.
So, same. I'm sorry.
I was so confused.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, okay. It's where he grew up and compared. It's like
I've heard of the show.
Yeah, well, no, it's like, he grew up in Houston instead of he grew up in Pearland.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's right outside.
But more country. So he says, sorry, Bizarro, I have to destroy you with this glowing metal for Smallville's sake. Besides, you're not a living, in all caps and bold, creature. Don't try to escape. Got to remind people that. But then Bizarro says,
Superboy's a prick.
You going to kill me? Well, I not run away. I fly straight at you.
Oh, my God.
And it says, why does the creature of steel, fully aware that close contact with the glowing metal will destroy him, deliberately collide with the boy of steel?
Yikes.
And Superboy thinks, wow, the super impact plus the rays of this kryptonite disintegrated Bizarro into the lifeless molecules from which he was formed. Then we get the happy ending for the story, Mike. You thought you were done here. At that moment, a strange miracle occurs in the garden below. That vibration in the air, it makes my eyes feel odd. Why, I can see now. My sight came back.
You blew up Bizarro and you made the blind girl see.
Superwits furnishes the answer. Like, that's what they call Superboy. Sometimes the shock of changing air pressure when a plane dives can sure deaf passengers. Likewise, the shockwaves of our
holy shit
of our super collision stimulated your optic nerve back to life.
No,
I'm so happy I can see again, Superboy. Isn't it a strange coincidence that Bizarro's end should cure my blindness? How does she know it was Bizarro's end though? Too nobody has said anything.
She doesn't.
These are giant leaps.
Thanks, Tootsie Roll.
Then Superboy says, coincidence? I wonder, did poor Bizarro somehow have one flash of super inspiration? Did he sacrifice himself for his only friend?
No, he had a buttload of them, Superboy. He was a good guy this entire time, Superboy.
I guess we'll never know.
No, we all know, Superboy.
Right?
You suck.
And then Melissa goes, I never saw Bizarro myself while blind. See, and here's, if you were like, oh no, I get where Superboy is. Just wait. Sure. This is how the comic ends.
Sure.
Melissa says, I never saw Bizarro myself while blind, but I know from his gentle voice, he must have had a kind face. And Superboy is flying away and he goes, little does she know, but I won't delusion her with the truth. In her imagination, Bizarro will always be her Prince Charming for restoring her sight. Let it stay that way. The end. God. The end is Superboy saying, yeah, so I'm a dick, but like, I'm not a total dick. You're going to tell her like he was actually a straight uggo. Yeah, Superboy out. Boom.
Fantastic.
And like, that's how it ends.
Wow.
He was such a...
What a jackass.
Like I told Mike, you obviously know this if you've hung around now. I said, I think the name of this episode needs to be Superboy, or better yet, Super Dick. Because he is just an asshole throughout
He really
this whole
is.
thing.
He really is an asshole.
Pardon my French. There's just no better way to put it.
I don't think
lastly,
French,
though...
Sure.
This is never mind. I don't think I can go from that right into they're never going to do business with us. But it is the last ad here for Tootsie Roll.
Did you think that the Tootsie Roll campaign was really on the line here? You were like, oh boy, I don't want to offend Tootsie Roll.
They're not going to advertise with us because we talked about assholes right before.
And they kind of look like one. So.
Let's see. I don't know if there's any...
Little chewy logs.
It says, boys and girls, please give me a nickname. That's the Tootsie Roll bear needs a nickname. So that was a thing. Also,
why is he white?
Enter the big Tootsie Roll Name the Bear contest.
Shouldn't he be like brown? Like, you know?
Well, no. It'd be hard to kind of print brown when your other stuff's brown, I think. Maybe. There are 400 prizes that you could win.
400?
36 exciting Raleigh Colt bicycles. 100 glamorous Tony dolls by American Character Doll.
Wait a minute. Glamorous Tony dolls.
Yeah, that's what it says. Tony is like all...
T-O-N-I?
Yeah, T-O-N-I.
Yeah, okay.
24 sets of Britannica Jr.
Oh, boy.
40 Jim Dandy Play Gems.
Jim Dandy.
100 exciting Gilbert Erector sets. Who's Gilbert?
And why are they erecting him?
I don't know. And 100 jumbo Tootsie Rolls filled with a 2.5-pound assortment of Tootsie Rolls, Tootsie Roll Pops, and all other delicious Tootsie Roll candies. Hurry, mail your entry today to Tootsie Rolls, Box Office 1414, New York 1, New York. 1, you have to follow the rules. Just give the bear a name.
Sure.
On the same sheet of paper, you have to complete the following sentence in 25 words or less. I always buy Tootsie Rolls because blank, right? 3, you need to print clearly your name, address, city, or town. Give your age. 4, every entry must be accompanied by 5 wrappers of the 5-cent Tootsie Roll candies, right? We have to believe
25 cents.
that your love for Tootsie Roll is real. You may send in as many entries as you like because that means you're buying at least 25 cents worth of Tootsie Rolls every time you do it.
Rolls, yeah.
Contest is open to boys and girls up to and including 16 years of age. Company and advertising agency employees and their families are not eligible, though.
Okay. So if I work for Tootsie Roll.
Yeah, you can't. Entries will be judged for originality and sincerity. But remember, you only have 25 words or less.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of originality and sincerity.
I sure love Tootsie Rolls. Oh, that's it.
Yep. All right. That's the guy. Winners will be notified by mail, yada, yada, yada. I don't even know if the Tootsie Roll bear has a name. I'll look that up real quick.
I'm going to freak you out.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Steel yourself. Get ready.
I'm ready.
Glamorous Tony.
Oh, my goodness.
It's just a picture.
I was still not ready.
It's Glamorous Tony. Yeah, there she is. Look at her. Look at her. There's old Glamorous Tony sitting right next to her box.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
isn't that nice? Look at her.
Yeah.
I will put a picture of this. This episode will be brought to you by the Glamorous Tony doll. It's fun to give your Tony doll a play wave. The doll with magic nylon hair.
How do you have magic nylon hair?
Well, you're a Tony doll. T-O-N-I.
Okay.
Well, this was fun, Zach.
Yeah.
I love getting depressed by DC Comics. Thanks, DC.
Yeah, no, they're great.
This is Superman National Comics by DC, 10 cents. This one was after the comic code, though.
It was.
So it's
which
okay
you
to
found about. Yeah.
It's okay to make fun of blind
about.
people,
Yep.
and it's good to kill ugly people. So that's great.
Yeah. No. So last week also with
That one's okay,
covering,
but don't cut that woman's head off.
no, don't.
No.
Because that. How dare you say that's in
Too
good
far.
taste of
Too
a
far.
horror comic?
Do you think this Tootsie Roll Bear ever got a name?
That's what I'm looking up right now.
are you really?
Yeah. Tootsie Roll
Yeah.
Bear name.
Yeah.
This is what everybody's listening for. My wife has not listened at all. So what the Easter egg is going to be for this week is what is the name of the Tootsie Roll Bear if we find it. And then now you can also...
Hey, can I give you a little bit of trivia while you're doing that?
Sure.
Do you know there's enough nylon in Tony's doll's wig to make 7 pairs of nylon stockings?
Say that again?
It says it on the box. There's enough nylon in this doll's hair to make 7 pairs of nylon stockings. Why is that a feature?
That is
I don't understand.
very weird.
Yeah. The only doll you can shampoo and play wave.
Okay. I don't
Boy,
know.
Tony doll. Hey, and also, just real quick, okay? For your Tony doll, use only play wave solution. Never home permanent solution.
Never. What is home permanent solution? So all they're telling me is that Mr. Owl is the mascot.
Mr. Owl? Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that he kind of took over, didn't he?
Yeah, like it doesn't tell me.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Captain.
That's true. He is a dude.
So there are comics that I haven't got to yet. That's Captain Tootsie that ran for like 3 issues.
Oh my God, please.
You want to?
Oh dear God, please.
That's
Tootsie.
a golden age. Yeah, that was used to sell Tootsie Rolls. Also, I have to tell you, I
love those corporate mascot type plays like that. Like the PSA one was one of my favorites that we did because it's just so ridiculous how these corporations try to appeal to children.
Remember how Superman was gonna make sure that you knew about all the dangers of having sex?
That's true. Was that Superman or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. Sorry, did I say Superman?
Yeah, don't have sex, says Spider-Man.
No, Spider-Boy would have shown up there and been like, yeah, do what you want to, man. Do what you want to. F whatever research is out there.
Throwing a giant condom at you.
Yeah, hey.
I'm Superboy.
Here's a lot of beads, guys. Get it? Ha, ha, ha. That's Superboy.
Good God. Well, this is fun, Zach. Thank you so much. I appreciate the depression.
Next week, I'll go ahead and give you a tease. I was just going to set up. I'm going into something completely blind as well.
Hey, I'm sorry. I do mean to interrupt you, but the last two, well, no, you skipped a week because we did the Halloween thing.
Yeah.
Right. But one episode, you're killing puppies. And then this episode, we're killing off poor Bizarro.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think, there's like a theme.
Well,
kill everything beautiful.
Here's, have you ever heard of seasonal depression?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. Maybe when you suffer for it,
maybe this is the way you're representing
I'm just putting it. No, it's just, this is honestly just stories that I've been sitting on for a while, and it just so happened to be. Although, like I said, I'm going into next week's blind. I'll just tell you this so we can both.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Oh, damn.
See?
Yeah. So I went to our local library, had a Friends of the Library sale going on.
There you go. Mason was talking about that earlier today.
Yes. So I always love to go and swing by and just see like what comic books I can find and stuff.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, I got these really good trade paperbacks of like the older Green Lantern runs, like from the beginning. I only have like there's volume 3 and 4, so I need 1 and 2. Like when I get these, I know you hate Green Lantern. When we get into Green Lantern, that's where we're going to start with. We're going to start with like, Green Lantern 1. So we're Hal Jordan, but we're getting into like before we get into like the Danny O'Neill, like, Green Lantern, Green Arrow kind of. Okay,
sure, yeah.
Still, when we get there, that's what we're gonna.
Hal Jordan, I know that name.
We're gonna dive. We're gonna dive into with when they started. When DC finally gave like everybody their own book, kind of like in the late 50s.
Gotcha.
We'll just start there because that's just like a good, like, hey, here's the first number 1 kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah.
But I have to get the first 2 volumes to do that. So that's whenever we get to it. But so I went there and I came across, I just found like a 4-issue miniseries from DC that came out in 1988 called The Wild. I have not even looked up anything about it. This could be good. This could be really bad. This could just be okay. But since they had all 4 issues there, I just grabbed it. Batman's on one of the covers, so he at least make appearance. I don't know what The Wild is, but so that's what we got. We're just going to go in something completely blind for both of us next week.
I love the fact that you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so
normally it's just me.
Yeah, that's true. So we'll have some fun here. Maybe I'll actually like take notes like a real person when we do it.
Yeah, whatever.
If not, I'm sure Mike and I will just
notes
have
are
some.
Overrated.
That's true. Some funny discussion. Till then, as always, follow us Instagram. Whatever. Bro Hero on Instagram.
It literally
Bros,
is what
foes.
it is. It's just like, well, whatever.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Bros, Foes, and Heroes on Twitter. Bros, Foes, and Heroes at gmail.com as well. Also, make sure and check out roguemedianetwork.com for a ton of other great podcasts. I expected you to come in and sing it again.
Yeah, I was waiting.
I had my eyes closed.
roguemedianetwork.com.
There we go. Again, a lot of other fantastic stuff out there as well.
Yeah.
And as always, we appreciate you taking the time out to listen. And until next time.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Stay safe, everybody.
Got a gun! Brought to you by Tootsie Roll.
Bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.